said, see it in a whole new way. I'm sitting on top of the world, on top of the world, on top of the world.
Well, hey, you guys. Welcome to another edition of Leaders and Learners, where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. They don't know everything, but they're good at what they do. They continue to seek knowledge, they continue to advance in their careers. And while they're doing that, they're leading businesses, they're leading cities, they're leading communities, they're leading movements. The woman that I'm going to bring on today, she is leading a path all her own. She's an accidental actress turned business owner. She owns a studio, and now she's an author teaching other actors and actresses not just how to audition, what to do, but also how to stop chasing your tail and actually get that job, land that part, get that role, and make it happen. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on the lady herself, Miss Mel Mack.
Hey, Tanya, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Listen, I'm thrilled to have you. I have people in my circle and that watch this that are in LA and New York and other places that really are trying to make it happen in the acting world, on screen, big screen, small screen, any screen these days, and can't seem to land that role that will take their career to the next level. So I'm actually really looking forward to hear what you have to say and sharing it with the audience. You are a leader in what you do, and I'm so glad that you're going to be sharing your knowledge today. So before we even get into your book, talk about how you got into this awesome career of yours. Was this like your dream job, or was it a happenstance?
Yeah, starting out as an accidental actor, I had graduated college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And somebody said, "Oh, you should do commercials. You're funny." And at the time I was living in Florida, and I thought, hey, that would be a great idea. So from there, everything kind of snowballed. I didn't go to college for that. So was it a dream? No, not at the time. Uh, I really like what Steve Jobs said, and I want to quote this, so I don't want to get it wrong. When he said that you can only connect the dots. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward, right? So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect to your future. So I really feel like that pertains to how I live my life and how I have lived my life. And looking back, I'm like, wow, those dots have connected and they're still continuing to connect.
It almost sounds like a trust the process conversation.
Absolutely. And trust yourself. I think especially in the entertainment industry, it's really easy to lose sight of uh, your own vision,
Hmm.
because if you are getting rejected that much, you start trying to fit yourself into this box because you think that that's going to somehow land you the big gig, right? So you lose sight. I think it can be very easy to lose sight.
Why do you think that our dreams and our visions lack agility? Because it seems that when things do not go as planned, navigating that process is really difficult for some people. And it can even take them into a dangerous mental space, right?
Mm.
When that dream that they imagined doesn't come to fruition, they don't necessarily know, what do I do now, because plan A isn't going down the right road, especially in this business. Where do you
Mhm.
think that comes from?
Where does the lack of
Flexibility in your dreams and flexibility in trusting the process.
I feel like you have to be flexible in any area, right? in order to be successful, one of the biggest things, and I think the biggest challenge in a creative career like acting is a lot of people that I meet don't understand it's a business. And not only do you have to have a vision, but you have to understand that it's a business and have actionable steps in
Mm.
order to get to that vision. And guess what? It doesn't usually come from the avenue you think it's going to come from. So you have to be flexible, you have to be open. And I think the biggest thing I find a lot of actors give up because they don't have that plan in place. They don't understand that a lot of times it's a numbers game. And it's also networking and building your, I sound so old, but building your Rolodex, you know?
Not at all. Actually, in business, I'm on the board of directors for a chamber of commerce, and usually when I speak to potential members, I let them know, don't think just coming to this, you're going to get a whole bunch of business, right? The
Mhm.
part about this that you don't understand is you show up and you put out your product, you talk about what you do, you stay top of mind. So when the opportunity arises, you're top of mind for someone that could use you, that could utilize your skills, that could utilize your services. And it almost sounds kind of like the same thing. So it can be applied in many different areas. And since you brought that up, let's talk about some of the opportunities that you help actors and actresses kind of open up for themselves in your book.
Oh, well, it's funny, like some of the opportunities, like the whole reason that it's a funny story how that book came to fruition. I had been thinking about writing a book. How can I help actors by making all the mistakes that I made in the audition room really show up 100% confident and prepared? And I'd been thinking about that, and one day I came back to my apartment in New York, and I'm like, "What is this weird package that somebody slipped under my door?" And I opened it up, and it was samples from books that one of my actors had ghostwritten for people and said, "Hey, listen,
Mm.
I've learned a lot in your class. I applied a lot of it to my own acting career. I'm starting to get callbacks. I'm getting more bookings. I feel more confident. Can we write a book together?" So that book has really come to fruition because that actor believed in me enough, and also I believed in them enough to be able to create something that we can share with the world.
I love that. In one of your passages, it says under baggage. I love this because everybody has baggage. Y'all know
Mhm.
you don't have to be in acting, in entertainment to have baggage. Okay. Don't take your audition with you. Leave what you did in the room. Talk them through that.
Well, now we're virtual, right? So the pandemic has forced the industry to change the way that it casts actors. Before, when you're in the audition room in person, the minute you walk in that door, everybody's casting you and judging you and checking you out. Are you right? I work in commercial casting, so are you right for that product? You are selling a product. Is that what this company wants to hire you to do? So I've seen actors walk in really positive and fun, and they take the temperature of the room and they're really able to acclimate as a human being that just lends itself to their acting. And then I've seen actors come in with baggage and they're heavy when they come into that room.
Mm.
Late, they don't feel good. They're like, airing all of their dirty laundry because they feel like they can. Again, it goes back to treat your career like a business. You know what I mean? So I
That is
tell
so
actors,
funny that
if
you
you
said
think
that.
I always say, actors, if you think it's the same in the virtual audition room. But people have gotten more lax because now they're at home auditioning. I'm like, if people are about to pay you a lot of money to represent their brand, you need to show up and be clear and just put yourself in that space for a short amount of time, right?
What do you think that is, that lack of professionalism in entertainment? I see it also in sports, in professional sports, in when they're dealing with professionals, whether it be whatever, accounting or whatever. There's just lack of professionalism when it comes to certain fields. I mean, I guess everyone can have it, but particularly those. What do you think they're missing? Understanding that, yes, it is entertainment. Your job is to entertain people, but this is still a business. How do you get them to connect? There is a professional aura that you need to emit during this process.
I think I have two thoughts on this. My first thought is it does come down to how you approach your business, quote unquote. So if you're training weekly in a class, if you have marketing materials that represent who you are, if you're running your business and you know your brand, you tend to show up like that. You tend to
Mm.
show up as a professional. I think when you don't have a vision of where you're going and you're a little willy-nilly and you're not organized, that's how you show up. How you show up in your life, for me, is how you show up a lot of times to an audition. And I also think as a society, we're really getting loosey-goosey here. I don't wanna wear sweatpants to work. I just don't. You know? When that trend came out in the fall, I'm like, "I'll get them. I'm just getting them because I'm just gonna try it," and I'm like, "Nope, it's not working for me."
It's so funny. I actually put together a new model of leadership, and it's with two L's. And the first L is look the part, because I do think in this era of virtual world, people are forgetting that how you show up matters. Look the part. You want a certain part, but you look like you don't want a part at all. I
Mhm.
need you to show up and I need you to look the part so that you can really present yourself the way that you want to be taken in, you know?
100%. I was working with an actor a couple of weeks ago, and they had a virtual meeting with a pretty big manager. It was a really good opportunity. They didn't have a lot on their resume. They'd taken a casting director workshop, and somehow they were led to this particular manager who was interested in them. And I said, "Great, let's just meet and kind of walk through what you're going to wear, and what are you going to say, and let's come up with some questions so that you feel prepared." And go ahead and show up to our coaching how you're going to show up, and we'll do a mock interview. This actor showed up, I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry, what's happening right now? Like, you still have to present yourself like a professional. Yeah, but Mel, I'm just working with you. I'm like, yeah, but I need to see how you're going to present yourself so that we can see what you're doing well and what you need to work on that could maybe be a deterrent for somebody wanting to represent you. The entertainment industry is really interesting because there's a lot of blind trust,
Mm.
right? So you think about from an agent or manager's point of view, like you're meeting with an actor for the first time, you have a good meeting, right? You decide to represent them, and then you put them out into the casting world. And we see that actor and they show up unprepared, not dressing the role, not really off book. They're just acting weird in the room, they're nervous or whatever that is. And so, now we're calling the agent if it's happening consistently and just saying, like, hey, listen, so just want to make you aware of a couple things that you might be able to talk to your actor about. Now, this agent doesn't know because this might be the first audition that they've ever sent that actor out on. So their name is on the resume of this actor. So that actor is representing this company, right? So I love what you're saying, like really showing up and being a leader in your own business is key.
It's so funny to me though that some of these things that are very elementary and taught at an elementary level, and literally I mean that,
Right.
seem to be disregarded during adulting when you're supposed to be adulting. So I look at something like my boys play baseball. We tell them, and I used to coach cheerleading, practice how you're going to perform.
Mm,
These are 9, 10, 11, 12-year olds. Practice how you're going to perform. Don't get on the field goofing off because you're practicing behavior that can become repetitive. that can become a part of your performance. You
Mhm.
are practicing the behavior that you want to be known for. So why would you show up, pardon my French, half-ass to an audition or to something to be taken in as a professional? And you want people to see you as a professional that's serious about their business, but you show it up looking like a clown. I
Right.
need to understand that.
Well, I look, I'm right there with you. I need to understand that too, because I think a lot of times we're not thinking long term, right?
The long game.
The cause and effect of how are our actions now going to affect us in the future. I didn't do that as an actor. I had a very strong vision that pushed me forward, you know?
I want to go back to something that you said a bit ago about that passage, baggage. And
Mm,
it is ironic to me when people will come into a professional environment and lay their baggage at the foot of someone that they want to hire them or take them on as a client. I think as a society, we struggle to have people try to see our humanity, but I'm not sure that's the right way. Actually, I'm certain it's not always the right way to
yeah.
walk into a professional situation and lay down all your garbage. Oh, my baby, I couldn't find a sitter, or, and then I was sick, and then I was. It almost makes more sense to reschedule than to do that.
Mm.
Is that something that you actually coach your clients on? You know, how to be professional and what to do and not do? Because I'm almost afraid some of them think that type of behavior is okay if no one coaches them and teaches them better.
I'm constantly saying those things. This is where I feel like social media really can benefit. I every week I'm doing a YouTube video to help actors show up as professionals in the room. I'm always talking about it in class. In my class, I'm like, I want you to dress how you would for your audition. Let's practice some things that are you feel like are obstacles standing in your way. What are you afraid of? So many actors I talk to are afraid of the networking and marketing aspect of it because they come from a place of disempowerment.
Mm.
Like, I need to get something, I'm begging you to not begging, but like, I need something from this person and I'm uncomfortable asking for it.
Mm.
And I feel like, as far as baggage goes, yeah, people, I got an email over Christmas and it was from an actor that had said, I like to send out postcards to everybody for the holidays. And this actor had said to me, "Thank you so much. I have learned so much from you. I didn't start out as an actor and I have an agent and I'm booking work. You give it to me straight, which scares me." You know? And I thought like, "Oh gosh, I don't want to scare actors, but I'm sharing with you the things that I see from a casting point of view and also that I used to do as an actor that just I was burning bridges and didn't even realize it, or not getting more opportunities because I didn't realize what I needed to do to change that behavior."
Yeah, I like that. The
Do
postcards are a
you
nice
teach that?
touch.
Yes, that's what I do teach that because listen, whether I'm teaching acting or it's a business, they're the same thing. How you
Yeah.
show up at the job, if you show up and like just like you're saying, like you couldn't get a sitter, life happens. Those things happen. As a business owner, you have to find the balance between having a decent human, respectable relationship, but at the same time, at the end of the day, you have a deadline. You've got to get stuff done. So figure out how you're going to do that and find some separation, right?
I hope they are listening. And the truth of the matter is, no matter what industry you're in, that is a point of importance. Your business matters. How you show up matters. So don't take that for granted. I want to ask you, as an author, I know that becoming an author is not easy. It's not an easy thing. Writing a book, what motivated you to do that? Why did you want to do that? And were there points in this journey that you were like, let me get back to what I know? And how did you keep going to make sure that you got this done?
Well, I want to say this. It is something that I know well. Putting it down on paper and making it digestible for actors
Hmm.
so that it's useful was the biggest challenge. I'd never done it before. So having an actor that I already knew who has written a lot of, ghost written a lot of other people's stories, I felt very comfortable, but let me tell you, I was dragging my feet for 2 years. For 2 years. We probably could have gotten it done in less than 8 months. But I was scared. I didn't feel like I had anything to share. I didn't know how to show up and be clear with my messaging. Now I wanted to quit. Like I really did. Like
I
after
know. That's why I'm asking you. Like, there were moments where I know you were like,
yeah.
I'm
I'm
done
like,
with
I
this.
hate the cover. Why would I put a picture of myself on the cover that's like weird? Like it should be, back and forth and then having to really show up and say, listen, if I'm going to have people trust me and I have proof that people have trusted me, then
Mhm.
I need to show up and make some hard decisions here and get over myself.
Okay,
Get
I'm
over
totally going off
the
script, but it sounds like a moment of imposter syndrome.
for sure. Who doesn't? I mean, I feel like we all have that, especially as a female business owner. I think we wear these hats where we have to please people a lot of times. And so being a leader, you're not always liked. And that doesn't feel good. As women, we're nurturers, right? And I feel like you have to wear a hard hat sometimes. And that means separating your business from the personal.
Who knew being an author could be a contact sport
Yeah,
for
but
you hard hat?
I feel I've gotten really good response that it's been very helpful for actors. There's tips that they didn't realize. I have a friend that runs her own business. She's like, "Oh my," she loved the baggage. She loved that so much. She's like, "Wow, I've been doing that." I'm like, interesting. A
Interesting.
lot.
So I want everyone to know that just because she's talking about acting does not mean that it cannot, a lot of these lessons can apply to you in your business. Most importantly, I wanted to ask you, are there people that come to you that might not necessarily be a professional actor or actress, right? But need some of those qualities that it takes to be a good business owner, to be a good leader, to be a good salesperson, honey? Because I know there are other occupations that people should be acting and they not. Like while you're on the clock, I'm gonna need you in character. So are there other genres of professionals that come to you outside of actors and actresses? And what would you tell them in regards to how they can utilize some of those characteristics that you teach?
There are, just recently I did an improv workshop and where my gym is, I'm online with them now, but they asked me to come in and, hey, we wanted you to interact with some of our members. And I think it would be very empowering for them because they're business owners or, they
Mhm.
just would like a little bit of help in how to show up for themselves. I was like, oh, this is terrifying because I've never done it before. Great. Let me give it a whirl. But it was really fascinating for me because I saw how many people, just by their body language, I could tell how they show up for themselves. I
Mm.
could tell what type of position they were in their business. I could tell if they liked their job or didn't like their job. So we would do some role playing. There were some people who said, hey, I have a really challenging time. I have a lot of Gen Z that I work with that grew up on a device. So how can I have meaningful conversations? I'm like, great, let's do a little role play. And people would get stuck. And I said, just talk to what you know. Talk to what interests you. Ask questions. Be curious. Be interested. I think the best actors are actors that are curious and interested in people. It's the same with business. When you're interested in somebody else, right? Your employees. I don't mean necessarily personal, right? But on a professional level. And so I feel like a lot of those people at the end walked away like, I didn't realize that my body language was speaking something different. Oh, I really did shut myself off when you were I felt like you were coming at me. I got really defensive. I could feel my body tighten up. What do I do in that situation? Take a deep breath and you relax, you focus, you don't respond right away. Things like that. Like, tell
What did
me,
what did you learn
what did I learn?
Mhm. in that process,
But you know,
especially since you were doing something new
for me, for myself, or
for you?
for for me, I learned that we go back to imposter syndrome, right?
Mm,
I learned, oh, I do have the skill set to do this. I just have to think outside the box and figure out how to take what I already know very well after being in this industry for over 2 decades and help people apply it to their daily life. And I also learned that, not to toot my own horn because this takes a lot of work, but I know what I'm talking about.
it's crazy how we can know something so well and still shy away from opportunities that allow for us to speak in our expertise.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I also realized, there was somebody. I had a friend say this to me, and she works in an industry that's very male dominated, right? And she said, I've learned how to write emails differently. It's
Mm,
a very different reaction to how I am learning how to show up in my own environment. And I don't know, it's these little lessons that I feel like the universe has been throwing at me, like, hey, here's this one to help you gain more confidence or to realize that you are not an imposter. They're hard. They're really hard.
it
You
is.
have to surround yourself with people that believe in you.
I love that. So just know that if it is your expertise, for those of you listening, and you know it, don't be afraid to show it. No one's perfect, but even in a situation such as this, she's able to give off her expertise and still learn something new about herself, about her business, about the opportunity to affect more lives and other professionals. It makes sense to have a slight moment of yielding when you're not sure if it's something you haven't ever tried, but know that you know your stuff and that there's going to be someone that benefits from the knowledge that you share. Let me know, what is your ideal client in your business right now? Who is your ideal client? If they're out there, who are they?
My ideal client is somebody who, first off, is a good human being. It's all the industry is all about relationships, and somebody who's self-motivated, who is committed, who understands that it takes work to be able to get where to do what they want to do to make that vision a reality. And you have to be a team player, right? Like, if you think
Yeah.
about being on set, everybody, I'll never forget, like, my first time on a union set, and I went to help somebody with the light, and they're like, "No, no, no, don't touch that. Like, that's their department." I was like, "Oh, everybody has a different department, but it doesn't seem like there's any cohesiveness." Right? So, you really have to figure out how to be a team player in the sense of seeing how the mechanics of what you're doing works and how you fit into that. So, I like being around positive, happy people, people that are go getters, people that, my actors teach me stuff every day about how to show up better, how to be a better teacher. I'm constantly wanting to learn, and I'm interested in being around people who are interested in that as well. And I do like
Uh,
a good naysayer. I'll throw that in. Somebody who challenges me like, I don't know, Mel. I don't know. I think they might have changed that since 1920. But you know what I mean. So I try. The thing about casting is you're forced to stay to keep up with the trends.
yeah,
Commercials are constantly evolving. So I like that part. I like those two worlds coming together.
I love that. Now, as a PR professional, I'm not in entertainment, but I do have pros that watch this. So, what do you or actors and actresses expect from PR pros? How can publicists be the best service for their clients that are in the industry?
Now, I'm gonna admit, I had to write this one out because that really challenged me. I was like, "Oh, this isn't I love this question." So, I feel like I'm particularly gonna talk towards the entertainment industry.
Yes.
Okay, great. So, when you're working with early stage actors and actresses, I don't feel like eh, you don't really have the luxury of having somebody who's already established, right?
Right.
It's not like you're given Rihanna and you're like, oh, this is going to be easy. So you really have to focus on getting them excited for the project, excited for what that actor is going to bring to the role. So, okay, for example, um, beyond the directors and producers involved, if there's any kind of relevant issues, right, that you're using to your advantage, like climate change, let's say. Uh, a climate change theme film reveals new solutions, right? And it introduces them to up and coming talent. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, being able to share who they are and share their story, sometimes they don't know who they are yet. How do you get young actors and actresses to understand their brand as an actor or actress?
That's a good one. You might have stumped me here, but I'm gonna. So I would say for a younger actor, you would be surprised. I was coaching a 5-year-old the other
Mm,
day, and she knows very well who she is. She knows what she likes. She knows that she hates certain movies. She knows that she doesn't like war. That came up in her audition because she was talking about war in her audition sides. And so working with younger talent, I think, especially in the industry, they're really, I feel like it's working with a mini adult because a lot of those kids are homeschooled and there's a different learning curve, and I just feel like they're very grounded and confident, and sometimes because of their age they just don't know any better not to be so bold.
mm, yeah. Well, listen, I absolutely love what you're doing, how you're helping people move to the next stages of their career. What is your best advice of all the things that you've shared and of all the things that you try to teach them? Your most important piece of advice for I keep auditioning and I can't seem to land that role.
I'm such a dreamer. It's a numbers game, and you've got to know that you're in it for the long haul. You've got to keep it going. Surround yourself with, whenever I start to feel that way or I have actors start to feel that way, I'm like, read The Rock, read his story, read
Mm,
how long it took him to get there, read what he decided he was going to do and who he was going to be along the way, right? Listen, I feel like anybody who has gotten to that level of stardom that you would like to achieve, read their story. I mean, read Taraji's story. What? Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish should not even be where she is if you were to look at her trajectory. But let me tell you, she had one person that believed in her. You need one fan. You need that one fan to keep you going. And you got to be curious over critical. You got to say, hey, you know what? This is what I did right. This is what I can work on. Let me go hang out with my friends and I'm going to forget about it because I'm not there for that job. I'm there to book a fan and book the room, because I will book the job. I just got to continue to stay on my game.
Almost like a sales speech. You are playing the numbers. Keep going, do the work, keep working at your craft, master your message, continue to work hard, show up, and you'll make it happen. So, listen, guys, I advise you, if you are in the industry or if you are just someone in sales or any field where you feel like, you need something extra. You need that extra boost, that extra piece of energy, advice that's going to get you to the next level. Grab Mel's book. Okay. I am not an actor or actress. I don't even like the entertainment industry. I watch movies. The people that entertain me, I love them. I would never want to be them. But the advice that she shares in her book is helpful for me. So I implore you to take a deep dive into her book, check her out, let the people know how they can stay in touch with you, follow your work. And if they are an actor or actress, come and see you for a little loving and lessons.
Yeah, I would love that. So I'm at melmackactingstudio.com and Mel Mack Acting Studio on YouTube, From the Casting Room in Facebook, and Mel Mack Acting Instagram at Mel Mack Acting. Yeah.
Awesome. I absolutely appreciate it. I will never shy away from my belief that the best leaders are lifetime learners. You continue to learn on a daily basis from your clients, share knowledge, and clearly you read other people's books. So thanks so much for being with us. Please keep in touch. Once you are a part of the Leaders and Learners family, we always got your back. So anytime you have something else new, come on in and check us out and we'll share because you are a part of our family now. So thank you so much.
Thank
And
you so much.
we'll be keeping in touch with you, Miss Mel Mack.
Yes, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Go
Take it
get them.
easy.
Go get them out there.
See you guys. Bye.